Hi, my name is Dr. Tasneem Yamani, and I'm a medical doctor and a geriatric practitioner. And the purpose of my work is really helping people age with strength, dignity, and independence, not just only about living longer. When we talk about healthy aging, we're not talking about avoiding illnesses completely. Healthy aging from a geriatric medicine perspective means maintaining function, being able to move, think, connect, and live life meaningfully for as long as possible. One of the biggest foundations of healthy aging is physical activity and mobility, and that's what we are going to be talking about today. A lot of us believe exercise is just about youth, fitness, or about weight loss. In geriatrics, we see movement very differently. Movement is medicine, especially for the aging body. As we grow older, the greatest threat to independence is not disease alone, but the loss of muscle strength, balance, and confidence in movement. The research and medical science is showing that from the ages of about 30, we start losing muscle mass gradually every decade if we do not actively protect it. The process is called sarcopenia. And sarcopenia is just not weakness or muscle weakness. It's linked to a risk of falls and fractures, difficulty with standing and walking, a loss of independence, leading to hospitalization and even an increased risk of death because of complications. The encouraging part to this, and this is very, very important, is muscle response to movement at any age. Studies show that even people in their 80s and 90s can regain strength, balance, and confidence when movement is introduced safely and consistently. Remember, not all movement is appropriate for all age categories, and movement should be very synchronized to your life age span. And what that means is that depending on where you start and what you're starting, it has to be adjusted according to what your ability and capacity is. In geriatric medicine, we don't guess the physical strength, we actually test it. How do we test physical strength is you want to assess the physical function. And simple ways are things like grip strength. How firmly someone can squeeze, it will predict the overall muscle strength even for the long term use of that muscle. It also predicts the muscle strength and survival over time. We have something called the chair stand test. And how that is done is how easily a person can stand from a chair without using any support. Gait speed is another strength test, or how physical function is assessed. How fast someone walks over a certain distance and is timed is actually one of the strongest predictors of frailty. Frailty doesn't necessarily indicate that you are old and it's part of normal aging. Frailty is a condition that comes when we are losing our intrinsic and functional capacity. Balance tests, such as standing on one leg or walking heel to toe, is another assessment of physical function. These tests are very powerful because they tell us how well the body is aging and often is an indicator before illness actually appears or complicates. From a biological perspective, movement affects aging at the cellular level. Regular physical activity improves cellular function at a mitochondrial level, the energy factories of our cells. That's what the mitochondria do. It's where energy is stored and managed from. So it improves that function. Physical activity also is known to reduce chronic inflammation, which is a key driver of aging and many diseases. It also improves insulin sensitivity, which reduces the risk of diabetes. Strengthening bone through mechanical loading will reduce the risk of fractures and loss of bone. It also stimulates brain derived neurotrophic factor, which supports a healthy brain and memory. So, in other words, movement doesn't only improve your image and your aesthetic value. It slows down the biological processes that make the body age faster. And like I said, healthy aging is not only about an older person, it's about starting from as young as you can, because from 30, you are losing a lot of your muscle mass. In geriatrics, we focus on three essential types of training and movements. One is strength. We want to use our body weights, resistant bands, simple water bottles, or even household activities. Balance. Balance remains important for movement and mobility. Standing on one leg, gentle tai chi, controlled movements really improve balance. Endurance. Walking, dancing, gardening, household chores all can contribute towards your ability to have a higher endurance level. You don't always need a gym. You need regularity, intention, and consistency. Science shows that short, frequent movement is more protective than one long exercise session once a week. Even 10 minutes just 3 times a day, which is about 20-30 minutes a day, improves mobility, blood sugar control, and joint health. We recommend 150 minutes of exercise over a week. That comes to just an average of about 15 to 20 minutes a day of exercise, which is not really hard to fit in when you incorporate it into your day to day. Another important finding is people who exercise but sit for too long uninterrupted hours still carry health risks. So breaking sitting time by standing, stretching, walking in between your working hour because of the sedentary lifestyles we live is just as important. Movement also protects brain health, mood and emotional well-being, sleep quality, confidence and independence. So don't wait to feel strong to move. Move to become strong. Healthy aging is not about pushing your body beyond its limits. It's about respecting your body, using it wisely, and keeping it engaged across the lifespan. Happy movement!